welcome. You're watching AFRICUNIA television, reaching you from our studio in the nation's commercial capital, Lagos, Nigeria. We have a breaking section, and with me connected in the studio is Mr. Loman Nzewa, the convener of Patriotic Obedience Emancipation Movement, that is POEM, in Abuja. It's good to have you with us on the news today. So tell me, Mr. Loman Nzewa, you're the convener for the Patriotic Obedience Emancipation Movement, that's in Abuja. So tell us, what is this movement all about?
Yeah, thank you very much. If I'm not mistaken, I think I'm speaking with Deborah.
Yes, you are.
Thank you very much. Yeah, Patriotic Obedience Emancipation Movement, in short form, POEM, was born out of concern with the Nigerian state and the electoral systems. There has been this form of mockery. Oh, the people that support Peter Obi are social media giants. Of course, yes, we are. Oh, they are not on ground, but that is not true. However, we didn't want to take that criticism for granted. So the Patriotic Obedience Emancipation Movement came on board to ensure that the whole social media activism, strict activism, 1 million man march, 10 million man march, or no matter the number of million man march, will not just end up on million man marches or social media activism, but that it will translate into actual vote on the day of election. Hence, the core objective of POEM is to mobilize voters, mobilize the obedience to ensure that on the day of election, nothing will stop them from voting. And we will do this by bringing them under one umbrella, educating them, encouraging them, and making sure that the day of election would not be a day of fear or some form of anxiety, but some form of excitement. It will look like a celebration. So when that is celebratory mood, then...
So tell me, how confident are you that Peter Obi and Yusuf Daity will emerge victorious in the coming 2023 presidential election? How high is the confidence?
If you give it to me on 1 to 10, I will just pick 10, if 10 is the highest.
Okay, I like that. Okay. The reasons?
The reasons are very clear. Number one is the emergence of President Muhammadu Buhari and the APC. Nigerians have seen what it means to have government that has nothing to do with ethnicity and religion or region. They have seen that it's not about where you come from or where you are going, or rather who you are worshiping. It's about competence. It's about character. It's about quality. Now that it is obvious, everybody is under a very heavy burden. Not even the governor, the president himself is safe. Don't pick it up from security angle. The president himself is not safe. He's under threat. Pick it up in economy. There's no defense as per economy. Thus, everything had collapsed. Judiciary is gone. Everything. Education, not in existence. And then, as it is now, we are just like, even if you see an enemy who could give you solution where you have problem, you will take that enemy. So, now how much more a friend and a citizen and a brother who has the solution? So, of all the candidates that are going about, the only candidate that has just addressed, appreciated the problem of Nigeria and proffered solution is Peter Obi. That's why you see the crowd following him everywhere he is. He's not calling anybody. The people are just following him everywhere he is. So, what else? Democracy is a game of number. He has the numbers. So I'm confident.
Okay, having said that, can you now rate the ability of INEC to conduct a free and fair, credible election in the coming 2023 presidential election?
That's a serious challenge.
How so?
And if you ask me again to place it on a scale of 1 to 10, where 10 is the highest and 1 is the lowest, I will put INEC on 3. Yeah, put them on 3, but I won't just write them off completely. Because there are some elections they have conducted in the past that are credible. Provided it's not, yes, maybe governorship elections where they allow the will of the people to emerge. But since 2003 to 2019, INEC cannot come up and beat their chest and say, oh, we have conducted a credible election. The entire election, what it has to do with presidential election, has been a sham. But then, it worsens with the current state of the current INEC, who conducted the 2019 election. Everybody saw that sham that happened in 2019. That even the so-called winners were surprised that they won the election. I'm sure they are surprised. They knew they didn't win the election. But INEC managed to pronounce them winners in 2019. They had nothing to show that they could have won the election in 2019. But then, we believe that, maybe we were taking on our ways. This time around, we will help INEC. We know that left alone, INEC doesn't have the capacity to conduct credible election, but Nigerians will help INEC to conduct credible election in 2023.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. Recently, the POE movement, they called for the resignation of INEC chairman, that's Professor Mahmood Yakubu. Now, why do you think he should resign as the INEC chairman? Do you think that call was really fair?
Yeah, the call for resignation of INEC chairman, I think is entirely overdue.
Okay.
It's an overdone thing that ought to have come earlier than now. I'm even surprised that they're making that call now. It was a shock to some of us, particularly people in the civil society, that his appointment was renewed after the 2019 sham. Where you remember when they were collecting, but that in 2019, results were being collected manually. From all nook and cranny of Nigeria, the results were coming in. And they were being collected manually. He was computing them manually. Each time Professor Mahmood said, let me go and drink water. By the time he finished drinking water and coming back, the tempo of the election, the result would change. You will see, and the whole thing would turn upside down. And everybody was shocked. You see, it was like he took advantage of that and did whatever thing he did. Well, the courts did not indict him. The courts ended up saying that the election was free and fair. So we couldn't go beyond that because the Supreme Court is the highest court in the land. And they said it. But the people's verdict, people know that was the court. Most of the time, the court will say a different thing, the people will say a different thing. So the call now is not the court that will sack him. People are now asking that he should resign. And we join voice with them to ask Mahmood to step aside. Honorably. That is the most honorable thing he can do, is to step aside. He is already compromised. And I can tell you one of the reasons I say he's compromised. You can see that the other day they brought out a memo stating that, they are not going back to electronic transmission of results. They are not going to go back on it, that it's going to continue. But then they didn't tell us what happens with the manual. Where there is a conflict between the manual transmission and the electronic transmission, what happens? If at the end of the day, the manual will take preeminence over the electronic, then the electronic is as good as wasted. So if they are sincere, if they are serious, they should tell us that they have done away with the manual result completely. We don't need it anywhere around us. If anybody wants to question the result, it should go as far as to enter into the system, into the database, and then question the result. Not to go and start counting manually again what has been counted and imputed into the system.
Okay, now you're also aware that the resignation is not a Nigerian thing, because if INEC refuses to resign, which is very likely, we all know in Nigeria the way the system is, once they are on the seat, it's very difficult for them to step down. So what will be the way forward if INEC refused for their chairman to resign, to step down?
Yeah, we are also mindful of that. Just like you stated, it's not a Nigerian term. If Nigeria has a culture of resignation, Buhari would not have any reason to do on seat by now.
Yeah.
He would have resigned long ago. It's not our culture. And most of the time, culture comes from top down. It's not. It doesn't go from up to top. It's just a top-bottom phenomenon. So if the top doesn't have the culture of resignation, then any other person could just sit tight. But then in the case where we're talking about, number one, being mindful of it, what we know is that at least we sensitize even himself, the chairman. So he has an idea of what the Nigerian people are saying. So we are sure that if he does not resign, we first sensitize him. Secondly, the Nigerian masses may have an option of making sure that INEC office, well, let me not say that. So nobody will say I am instigating, but I am sure that INEC will be occupied. INEC will be occupied by Nigerians in the event that he fails to resign and he goes on doing the same thing over and over again. Well, and there are also other options. Occupying the office, we have, unfortunately, we have a government that's quite insensitive and murderous in nature. They could even turn the burden of the gun against the Nigerians. That like what happened in the NSAS era, where they had the gut to point their guns at armless youths and murder them at Lukite Gate and murder many places in Nigeria. We are aware of that. So definitely we'll be on the drawing board to make sure that we will find a way out. There must be a way out.
So is INEC supposed to take full responsibility for the non-credibility in elections? Like, why are we not calling for the resignation of Inspector General of Police, and all service chiefs? So is it fair, or is it okay to say INEC is supposed to take the blame for, all of the misconduct that's happening in Nigeria?
Yes, we are. It's not only when we talk of INEC, we're not talking of INEC as a body. INEC as a body is made up of the chairman and the national commissioners.
Of course.
So we are calling on the man on whose table, on whose table the ball stops, and that's the chairman.
Okay.
And if you look at it, he is the only, out of the Inspector General of Police has been changed. The Inspector General of Police that is there now was not the one that was there in 2019.
True.
So we don't have any reason to say, oh, in the General Police, you compromise. There's no history. There's no evidence of that. Then we are talking of the service chiefs. The service chiefs, none of the service chiefs now, whether the chief of army staff, chief of naval staff, air force, none of them was there in 2019. It's only the INEC chairman that has got the experience in rigging, experience in manipulation of the people's will. And that's why we're saying that he should resign.
Okay. So Peter Obi said recently that he's not contesting for president, but that Nigerians, let me quote him, he said Nigerians are contesting for president through him. Now, can you respond to that statement?
Yeah. Yes, I was at the International Conference Center when that statement was made. And he just spoke the mind of Nigerians. You needed to see the upload on that day. And that was the real mind of Nigerians. That is where democracy is purely defined in its purest style. That it is the government of the people, for the people, by the people. But what he is saying simply that he is representing the people. And not as if he is dashing out, he's trying to share us his wealth. Contrary to what we saw in the current administration, where the president was sitting on the wealth of the nation and was sharing it as if he was sharing to his children. Anyone he likes, he gives. Anyone he doesn't like, he does not give. 95%, 5%, if you voted, then you are. No. That's what Peter Obi is saying. If you vote for me, you are my child. You are Nigerian. You are entitled to good governance. If you don't vote for me, you are my child, you are Nigerian. You are entitled to good governance. But the issue of that disagreement, sometimes people misplace it. It was basically on principle. Sometimes they will tell us, oh, Wike is asking for vice president, and he was not given vice president because of that. He want to rock the boat. But that is not true. There were some fundamental issues. But I would not go into those fundamental issues because I'm not party to it.
Okay.
But I will now tell you that whatever thing that is transpiring is, I know that Wike is a politician. And he as a politician, he wouldn't want to put his investment where it will not come out. Outside Labour Party, outside supporting P2P, his investment is wasted. So there's no need for them to be going after him like flies that are going after cow. He knows where his political investment will be rescued. He has love for this country, to the best of my knowledge. When it was necessary for him to support and be with the PDP, he did that. Now, as it is now, he knows that giving his support to Atiku and PDP is trying to waste his investment. So we are waiting for him. We are waiting for him. He will soon be obedient. And not only him, other governors like Governor Samuel Ortom, we are waiting for them. The doors are open. They will soon be obedient. In fact, they are potential obedience. We are waiting for them. So they are just chasing him for nothing. He is a rational politician. So that's the much I can say about that.
So do you have any closing remarks for Nigerians?
Wow. My closing remark, I would have said, is that let every Nigerian weigh the options available. We have 3 major candidates now, undeniably. P2B ranking number 1, probably Atiku Abubakar ranking number 2, then Bola Tinubu ranking number 3. Out of these 3 major candidates, each of them had his own share of taste of power. The only one that has come out to say, I stand selflessly, and you say, go and verify, is P2B. The only one. No other one. The other ones have reason to justify the loot. The reason to justify misgovernance. Reason to justify, converting the national asset into personal asset. And for instance, let me start from Bola Tinubu, who was the Lagos State Governor. He was Lagos State Governor between 1999 and 2007. He is laying claim to what is happening now. Maybe the performance of Lagos this time around, which is not too wonderful, but we are yet to see the indices of the wonders in Lagos. But he's laying claim that he laid the foundation, as if there was no government before 1999 that laid the foundation on which he built. But they are not laid claim to any specific thing and say, this is what I did. This is what I did. Now they were telling us, oh, look, the IGR in 2019, or rather in 1999 was so, but now it is about 50 billion per month. Now, what actually constitutes the IGR? Is it not overtasking of the people that are already impoverished? So that's what you want to replicate, could come and impoverish Nigerians and then task them in the state of poverty, and then counting that he has made money. He didn't tell us that the money he was foreign direct investment. It was money from Nigerians. Then, if I just leave it there because I'm just closing, move forward to Atiku Abubakar. That one sold the entire assets of Nigeria at ridiculous prices, and only him knows who and who purchased them. I did not buy. Nigerians did not buy. He purchased them and converted them to his own. Let them accuse P2B of any of such things. Then we will withdraw our support from him. Nobody has done that, and they will not do it. That's what I would say. So Nigeria should choose to vote for P2B. I don't want to even give them opportunity to say choose between P2B and Atiku and Obi. The Nigeria should choose P2B as the president in 2023.
Thank you so much, Dr. Loman Nzinwa for
Mr. Loman Ezeh.
Mr. Loke Loman Nzinwa. Thank you so much for coming.
You're welcome.
And there you have it, Mr. Loman Nzinwa, the convener of Patriotic Obedience Emancipation Movement, Abuja. And that's all we can take on today. Do ensure to follow all our social media platforms displaying on your screen and subscribe to our YouTube channel and also link us up on www.africunia.tv. Once again, I am Deborah Ezeh. Bye for now.